Nod-krai is right around the corner, the place looks amazing, the characters are cool, but the livestream was incredibly long and packed with info, reason why I'll keep this video as short as possible, focusing only on the most important aspects of version Luna 1. But first, this is a theory video and leaks are prohibited in the comment section. I will use information available in the game, but my theories and conclusions are not to be considered the official lore of the game, unless I got something right and it's confirmed in a later update of the game itself. Well then, grab your Kuuvahki and let's get this video started. First of all, I think the most important news we got that will become one of the themes of this new region is that the twins landed in nod-krai with their spaceship, and this kinda complicates things. We know that the Karians performed a summoning ritual that brought the twins to Teyvat, and then apparently brought Lumine from nod-krai to Caria, where she then lived for a long time. But why didn't they take either as well? He remembers being woken up by Lumine in nod-krai when the cataclysm happened, but they didn't take the spaceship to leave Teyvat, which is weird on its own, because I have no idea how Lumine thought about leaving without it in the first place. The other problem is that Lumine couldn't find either when she left Caria to look for him all over Teyvat, but when Death showed her the key after the cataclysm happened, she instantly found him right where they landed, still in his hibernation chamber. Then they tried to leave without the ship, and probably after Asmodee caught the twins, the ship was apparently intentionally hidden. We don't know who did it, but it might be safe to assume it was one of the Shades. Now, we saw Lumine in the trailer, it's the first time she makes an appearance outside a Dainslef's quest, but let's be honest, that's not Lumine. It's a creation of the Wild Hunt, probably intended to lower Either's guard, reason why he looks sad and disgusted when he took his sword to slay her, because although he knows it's not the real Lumine, it must still be pretty sickening to slay something that looks like her. We then heard Nefer asking Either if he's wondering whether Lumine is in cahoots with the Fatui, which is very interesting considering I've always thought the Abyss Order and the Fatui are secretly working together. Pierro is from Caria and I think he's one of the Sinners, most likely Hroptatyr, although there's a very slim chance he might be rarer, and the Abyss Order is looking for a place to release the newly created ley lines of New Caria to bring back the nation, but it can be done because both Irminsul and the Night Kingdom cannot accommodate new ley lines, which means the Dottore burning Irminsul down will give the Abyss Order a chance to complete their mission, hence they might be working together. Moving on, let's talk about Flins. He's a member of the Lightkeepers, the faction that has been protecting nod-krai's autonomy and peace from the Wild Hunt since it was founded during the Cataclysm. The Lightkeepers always carry a lamp with them, which works as an alarm but also as a weapon against the Wild Hunt. Flynn specifically lives alone in the lighthouse in the Final Night Cemetery, where he watches over the graves of his fallen compatriots, because the Wild Hunt can turn corpses into zombies, so he's trying to keep it away from the bodies of those who died fighting it. He's also a special character because he can understand the growls of the monsters of the Wild Hunt. It's like he can hear the final memories and thoughts of the people that the Abyss turned into monsters. Now, I have doubts about Flins's humanity for two reasons. First, he said,
"Viewing the world through human eyes is like looking into a kaleidoscope. It is so complex and yet so beautiful."
Which isn't exactly what a normal human would even think, because it implies that he had previously seen the world through a different non-human kind of eyes. Secondly, listen to his soundtrack.
To dust. The long sleep beckons.
Does that remind you of something? Let me overlay it with another soundtrack.
The long sleep beckons.
Yes, it's basically Shao's theme. The two are actually very similar. They both live alone, they both protect the city from monsters, and they even have this mask theme going on. This means that Flins might actually not be human like Shao, but maybe something deeply connected to the dead, or maybe he's hanging between life and death himself. Next is Lauma. She is the current moon chanter of the Frost Moon Science, the last descendants of Hyperborea who, after a celestial nail destroyed their golden city, relocated to this area of Snezhnaya, specifically on Hisi Island, where they live in the wild away from civilization. Lauma is also the messenger of Kutar, the moon goddess they worship, and she has access to an ancient relic that allows the user to see the true past, that she's been using to piece together all the fragments of the past that she has found so far, especially because it will reveal the history of the Frost Moon Science but also of the moons themselves. During this Archon quest, the Fatui will steal a sacred relic of the Frost Moon Science, which is probably the reason why we will infiltrate the Kuuvahki Experimental Design Bureau of the Fatui together with Lauma and with Yahoda's help. Honestly, apart from introducing the new Lunar Bloom reaction, that's all there is about Lauma. When it comes to Kuuvahki, it's the power of the Light Realm, the primordial form of elemental energy that was split into the 7 elements of the human realm. Kuuvahki is basically the beam of light before it refracts into 7 colors. Because it has the power to attract or repel, it's being used in the everyday life to power things, but in nature it affects the weather, soil, terrains, plants, animals, and even beasts. Nod-krai basically revolves around Kuuvahki and it takes different forms in different places. Some specific people can also harness its power for combat thanks to the moon wheels, resulting in lunar reactions. So far, we've only seen Lunar Charged and Lunar Bloom, so Hydro with Electro or Dendro, but there's gonna be at least another lunar reaction more. Now, Kuuvahki seems like a mix between Natlan's Phlogiston, because it affects the gameplay, and Fontaine's Pneumosia, since it can temporarily disable certain enemies and can be used to solve puzzles, but also the xenochromatic creatures, because the Traveler will be able to use Kuuvahki for exploration by harnessing its power from nature itself. The problem is that, unlike Natlan and Fontaine, if we want to use lunar reactions, then we can only pull for the 5-star characters, especially since Aino, the free 4-star character from nod-krai, has a Hydrovision, so she doesn't cause lunar reactions, unlike Kachina, who can use Phlogiston, and Lynette, and later Fremenei through an event, who could use Usia and Numa respectively. This sounds like a bad decision. I mean, it kinda is, but there is a chance this is gonna be just like Natlan all over again. Although the moon wheels and nod-krai's visions look the same, the moon wheels cannot be received because of a person's ambition. They are directly given by the Frost Moon Science, probably by Lauma in our case, because they are ancient ritual items from Hyperborea, basically a prototype of the visions that these people tested millennia ago. This means that once all lunar reactions are revealed, Lauma might give the Traveler a moon wheel and he will gain access to lunar reactions, just like we needed the ancient name to use Phlogiston. In this case, if we use Electro, Dendro, or the 3rd element, which might be Anemo or Cryo based on Yahoda's vision / moon wheel, we will be able to cause the corresponding lunar reaction. Before the last chapter of the video, some notable mentions. As expected, Sandrone is the important person from the Adventurers Guild waiting for us, but seeing her at the booth and with her feet on the ground was kinda shocking. But we then saw Catherine, so things will go back to normal. I love Nefer's cat, they went all in with that design, but we still don't know why Nefer looks like a Sumeru character. Yahoda is also from the Curatorium of Secrets, which should be neutral with all factions of nod-krai, but we saw her helping Lauma and the Traveler infiltrate the Experimental Bureau, where there's also one of the clues pointing toward Reed Miller's treasure. Now, I highly doubt any of you has ever played or even heard about Star Wars Jedi Knight 2 Jedi Outcast, but in that game we could control a mouse droid to get to different rooms to activate mechanisms we couldn't reach, which is what we're also going to do in Genshin Impact. You have no idea how nostalgic this is. By the way, the Force can also attract or repel things just like Kuuvahki now that I think about it. The new boss, Radiant Moonfly, apparently glided through Teyvat thanks to the moon's blessing, displaying the remnant of an older world back when the ancient moon illuminated the land, which sounds like it comes from the old world of the dragons. Lastly, the new lunar mode in the Imaginarium Theater will give us Lunar Arcana, basically the major arcana of the tarot cards, and each of them will represent something from Teyvat. The tower is the Caribbean's tower, the chariot represents the Millelith, justice is Egeria, the sun seems to be about nature or Dendro, and the lovers seems to be about Ivanovna. I think Judgment might end up being Neuvillette, and I hope the Wheel of Fortune is gonna be Bennett. Not that I will ever get these cards, I barely managed to have enough build characters for Visionary in 5.8 for the first time. I certainly don't have 28 to 32 characters ready for Lunar mode. To conclude, we need to talk about Columbina. She was born in nod-krai, she then joined the Fatui, but she recently left them and is now hiding underground on Hisi Island in the Silver Moon Hall, a sanctum blessed by the newborn moon where we will meet her but also take on simple requests from her, which she will pay with powerful blessings that will support our adventure. Now, when the moons shattered, moss fragments fell on nod-krai, specifically on Hisi Island, which are these massive pillars we will fix, and on Paha Isle, on top of which the Fatui built the Kuuvahki Experimental Design Bureau, that I think is supposed to become a Fatui man-made moon since we saw it trying to take off. The Frost Moon Science also had a prophecy about the return of the Moon Goddess, which did come to pass but in a weird way. Lastly, the moon statues were sculpted in the image of Columbina's past self, and we also heard her saying she wishes to go back to the moon that belongs to her. We can safely deduce that Columbina is not the original moon goddess. She came back to life, much like the dragons basically, hence she's the newborn moon, but instead of going back to her rightful place, she ended up with the Fatui. Then she might have regained her past memories, which is the reason she left the organization and went back to her homeland. Now that Tsaritsa is going above and beyond to get her back, she's not giving her the same freedom she gave Capitano, which means that her mission is something only she can do, so she became an obstacle in the Tsaritsa's plan by leaving. Now, Columbina can't simply go back to her moon, which makes sense because she said it's gonna fall soon, so I suppose we will eventually help her create a new moon that will rise from nod-krai as expected, which is probably gonna be the fourth moon that originally never made it. Nod-krai is clearly gonna be a journey and a half, considering every single faction is connected to Columbina. The Frost Moon Science worship her, the Fatui want her back and are siphoning the power of the moon statues. Aino will blast the Experimental Bureau with her cannon, and even Varka is there for the moon, so he might have actually meant Columbina. There will be so many things to learn, so many people to meet, and above all, so many secrets to uncover. Will we be able to keep up? As always, we can now just wait and see. And that's it, I hope you liked the video. If you did, don't forget to leave a thumbs up, and if you're interested in Genshin Impact Theory videos, consider subscribing. Sorry for the church bell in the background, but my next video is definitely gonna be about version Luna 1 after I played every single quest there is. And since there's probably a lot to do, I might have to split everything in multiple videos. Well then, thank you so much for watching, and until next time, over and out.